I'm Dick Myers, and with me for this segment is John Alonzo Gaskin, who is a candidate for St. Mary's County Board of Education from District 1. The districts are the same as the commissioner districts, aren't they?
Correct.
Correct. So you would be in Commissioner Jones' district, current
Correct.
Commissioner Jones'
Yes.
district. This is, since we've had an elected school board, it's kind of a little bit different because it's a nonpartisan race. And in the primary, the two candidates who emerge wind up in the general election. Since there were only two candidates, you weren't in the primary, so now here you are.
True. And it's been quite a learning experience going through this. The only other elected experience I've had was just one-sided. Now we're looking at both sides of the spectrum, and it's been quite interesting.
The candidate that's running against you is Rita Weaver. I just want
Correct.
to mention that because I'm saying that in all the interviews. Now, why did you decide to run?
Well, obviously the fact that Dr. Rasper was retiring was one thing, but I've always had an interest in education. I've always been involved with education from the time that my children were young, even before my children were young. And it's just something that kind of grows on you, being in the system and getting involved and wanting to see children do better and better and better. And it's just one of those things that kind of grows on you. And education is absolutely the gateway to the future. And if we don't have an educated populace, we're going to be in real trouble.
Did you grow up in St. Mary's County?
Yes.
Where did you go to school?
I was at Jarvisville for a little bit, George Washington Carver, graduated from Great Mills.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And give us a little bit of your background and experience. Tell us what you've been doing since you graduated.
Graduated in '69, went to technical school in Baltimore, and got a degree in the electronics. Came back home and got a job on the base, and eventually got a job in my field. And then, I've just been involved from school to school, doing different things. I've been PTA president, member of the county council of PTAs. I was on the Tech Center Advisory Board. I was at Great Mills when they did the renovation of Great Mills to what it is now. I've been, what else? I can't remember all of it. I've done a number of different things.
Let me ask you, was Jarvisville a segregated school?
Yes, as was George Washington Carver.
George Washington Carver. So you were there when integration occurred.
Absolutely.
How did that go? Was that a relatively smooth or not so in St. Mary's County?
It had its ups and downs. For the most part, I would say it was relatively smooth by comparison to other states and counties. It was relatively smooth. Not that we didn't have our issues, but all in all, I believe it was relatively smooth.
So one of the issues now is the gap. Was the segregated to integrated school system, is that part of the reason that we still have a education gap in the country and in St. Mary's County, or is there something else going on there that
It can certainly be part of it, but I think the larger part of it was opportunity. When we made the transition, it was done by law, and the community really hadn't coalesced to be a single community, working for a single issue of education. And I believe a lot of what's going on now is a remnant of that. And we're closing the achievement gap, and we're working diligently at it. I'm a member of the NAACP Education Board, and we've constantly worked at trying to do things to bring more minority teachers in, to have more male teachers here, and to work with parents and schools to lessen the effect of the achievement gap. And we're closing the gap, but it's just going to take time and more people and more energy to realize the absolute closure.
Is money an issue for minorities moving here to teach? Because they do have an opportunity to teach in the big city, and it might be more exciting, and they might be making more. Is that it?
Money is an issue. Another issue is, when you're 23, 24, 25 years old, there's not a lot of social life down here. And that has become a real factor for young people, because after they finish work, they want to have some place to go, relax, and unwind. And St. Mary's County doesn't offer an abundance of that. There are certain spots, but we don't have the abundance that a city would have. And young people will gravitate more towards the city.
Mm-hmm. It seems every year, Alonzo, that there is a crisis at budget time. I've asked the county commissioner candidates about this. I have to ask you as well. Is there anything that could be done to try to make this yearly turmoil a little bit easier?
Well, I would hope so. And I would think one of the things we really need to do is have a little bit more integrated process with budget people on both sides, understanding what the requirements are for the school system, what the limitations of the county commissioners are, and an actual working relationship with the county commissioners. I know that individuals have a working relationship with the county commissioners, but the board as a whole the two boards as a whole maybe need to do more things where they come together for the common cause of education.
So, to whom do you blame for the school board's budget problems this year?
Oof. I don't know that I can blame any one person. The stated reason has been that it was because of a change in the health insurance cost.
Mm-hmm.
And health insurance costs across the country are just bouncing up and down. You never know what you're going to have from one year to the next. And the self-insuring process, it allows for some flexibility, but at some point in time, all of these things catch up with each other and the numbers go up. And you really have to have somebody who's right on top of those numbers pretty much every day to be able to figure out when there's going to be an increase, what the increase is going to be. It's a very difficult process, so I don't know if you can really blame a person or anybody for that, just to say it was your fault. But it's a difficult thing, health insurance.
So moving forward, the teachers say they're bearing the brunt of it this year because they didn't get a salary increase, which they had anticipated getting, and they're actually have what they call a back to basics work rule, where they're just doing what they're required to do and nothing more, or at least that's the recommendation. So moving forward, would you be in favor of trying to do something to give the teachers more, to make up for what they haven't gotten in the past couple of years?
Absolutely. The teachers are the backbone of the system. And if we don't protect them and keep them funded based on the contracts that we negotiate with them, then your backbone will get weak. And we need to try and do everything we can to keep them as strong as possible. Like everybody else, cost of living goes up on teachers, just like it does on anybody else. So we have to honor our contracts and let the teachers know that they're a vital part of the system.
What do you think about the back to basics that they're doing?
I would be surprised if a whole lot of people did it. It's an option that teachers have, but my experience with teachers is that while you have an option, you don't always have to exercise the option. And I think we're going to find that most teachers aren't going to exercise the option. But they have no way to let the general public know what they're going through unless they at least announce some action. And then people will have an opportunity to say, okay, what is really going on? Because we try to put the school system in automatic and just say, I send my kids to school, that's done, and basically forget about it for the larger segment of the population. And I think this is just an avenue for them to say, we are going above and beyond. We buy materials, we buy paper, we buy all of these things so that our classrooms are functional, but yet we can't get a cost of living increase.
Do you think it's true what they said, that the population doesn't appreciate what the teachers have to go through?
I found that during this campaign process, people are really interested in education, but there are not a lot of avenues that they will avail themselves of to go and learn about education. Because it's, PTAs, PTSAs, going to board meetings, and these sorts of things are the normal avenues where people learn what's going on in the education system. And because of two parents working in the household, you have kids, you have homework, you have any number of things, we have not designated education to the top of the pile in terms of maintaining a standard of education here in St. Mary's County, because it's truly the voters and the population who determine what kind of education we're going to have. And we can have an A system, B system, C system, or a D system. And I know most people in St. Mary's County want an A system, but it's going to mean that we're going to have to come out and put a little bit more skin in the game.
We've had a very strong superintendent for the last 10 years. Some people feel that maybe the school board has stepped back and let him take over, defer to him. It's hard to tell in the meetings. That may be true, may not be true. Do you believe that the school board should be more active?
Yeah. I haven't seen the school board not be active.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have put an awful lot of faith in what Dr. Monterano was doing, and we see the results of what he's been doing, and raised from, I think they said 85% to a 91% graduation
That's
rate.
right.
And, I think they've taken the approach that, there's something that needs to be done. What is it we can do? He presented ideas, and they accepted those ideas as a means to move the entire system forward. And I think that you either have to pull back and let one go, or you just pull back and hold and just make very small incremental steps. And I think we've made some large steps over the last 9-10 years, and now we have to maintain what we've done, because it's harder to maintain than it is to rocket up to a position. So that's where we are right now. So, but I think the board looked at it and said, we have to do something to move the system forward, and they were accepting of the ideas that Dr. Monterano had. The ideas moved us forward. So now we have to come back and reassess and say, okay, we're here now. How do we maintain? How do we provide the cost of living increase for the employees, and how do we make sure that everybody in the county is understanding of how the education system works?
So the school board's going to have a big job in choosing a replacement for Dr. Monterano. What kind of a person do you think they should look for? And do you think they might be able to find that person within the school system?
Yeah. There's always the possibility of finding the person inside the school system, because they have knowledge of the system, and that would be, that would put them above anybody else. But beyond that, they need to have somebody who is community friendly. And that was one of the strong attributes that Dr. Monterano had. He was very community friendly. He was just pretty much everywhere all the time.
Right.
And, that's the kind of relationship that most people who are involved with the school system want from their superintendent. So we're going to have a blended person this time around who can fulfill the community aspects and someone who's very strong in the administrative aspects to make sure that we don't have these cyclical budget issues.
The school board members that I talked to say it's a pretty rigorous job for what it pays, which is nothing, right, or expenses. Are you going to have the time for that? I mean, you have a job. Does your job give you the flexibility to be able to attend school board meetings? Are you going to be able to devote the time that's needed to the job?
My job affords me a certain amount of leave every year, and that's what I would use to attend the meetings. But it's my plan to retire in April, so I'll have time.
Oh,
much time.
Yeah. They'll probably put you to work doing a lot of stuff if you're retired.
Well, I have to be. I've always been a busy person, so I have to be busy. I can't just sit around and do nothing. I have to be engaged in something.
Do you think improving the school system's technology is a priority? Dr. Martirano wanted the entire school system to for every student to have laptops and to really move in that direction. That because of the budget crisis, that had to be put on hold. Would you like the school system to continue in that direction?
We have to embrace technology because the future for the children of tomorrow is totally based on technology. And we have to make them comfortable with technology. In fact, they are more comfortable with it than, it surprises me how really comfortable they are with it. But they have to be not only comfortable with it, they have to be proficient in it. Because today, when they go out and look for a job, the employer is expecting a certain skill set. And we have to come as close as possible to providing that skill set for them coming out of high school, going into college to enhance that skill set so that the workforce will be continually getting stronger. During the industrial age, coming out of high school, basically all you had to be able to do was have a basic mathematic understanding and some other rudimentary reading things. But today, not only do you have to have a basic mathematics, you have to have almost a higher level of math to be able to use the programs that are coming down and to even program things. Because that's where the future is going to be, is having people who can actually program machines to do what is needed to be done. And especially in the industrial sector, where you use milling lathes and a whole bunch of other machinery that's precision equipment, and you can't set it by hand. You have to use a computer.
Dr. Martirano, during his 10 years, has really pushed having different pathways for different students. Chaptacon High School has the Academy of Finance. There is, of course, the charter school. There's the tech center. There is Fairlead Academy. Do you support those initiatives too? There was a couple of initiatives that kind of were put on hold. Do you support continuing with those initiatives to give students more opportunities for, to do different things and still graduate?
I support the initiatives, but one thing we're going to have to do is take a look at what the initiative cost, how many people the initiative is serving, and is there multiple ways to achieve this without just having singled out one school or one area. As I said, technology, everything is moving at a rapid pace, so we're going to have to try and enhance as much as we can in all of those areas, plus try and make sure that we're still on the leading edge for other areas, and try to bring those kids who don't have that particular skill set into a skill set where when they leave high school, they'll have they'll have some skills that are actually ones that they can use in the workforce.
This is your first race. Are you enjoying the campaign? And I guess an auxiliary question to that is this the right way to go to have an elected school board?
I am enjoying the campaign. It is it's exhilarating and it is tiring. Living in the Ridge area and most of the events happening in the northern end of the county keeps me on the road. And you know, we made this decision years back that we wanted to have a elected school board because segments of the community felt as though they weren't given an opportunity in with the governor doing the picking. So it's fine, but we have to be diligent about it. You know, just because people put their names in the hat, we have to make sure that we're diligent about understanding who the people are, what they do, how they do it, and you know what it is that the skill set they're going to bring to an issue like education. And it's important that we have people who are grounded in the system that we have here, understand the system, and are willing to make the challenges that are necessary to keep the system moving forward.
For people that would like to get involved in your campaign, do you have a website? Do you have a Facebook page? How can they get active?
We have a website, and I'm remiss because I can't spit it out. But if you just if you just Google elect John Alonzo Gaskin, it'll pop up. We have a Facebook page, same name, elect John Alonzo Gaskin, and we have what else do we have? Those are the two primary ones, yeah.
Okay.
Those are the two primary ones. But you just Google either one of those two, and it'll come up.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for being here.
Oh.
Appreciate it very much, and thank you for joining us on this segment of Countdown to November.